Welcome to Believe in the Entrepreneur, where the mission is to tell the story of the entrepreneur and how they overcame the obstacles in life and in business to get where they are today. Welcome to another episode of Believe in the Entrepreneur. I'm super excited because I have Carlos here in the house, who's the owner and CEO of Transparent Marketing Group for now over 2 years. And Carlos, thank you for being a guest on my show.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for inviting me as a guest.
Of course. So Carlos, tell me a little bit about who you are, a little bit about what you do, so that way, our listeners get to know you.
Yes. So I am a marketing director. I love helping local businesses succeed. I love generating new sales with marketing techniques, with direct response marketing. So right now I am in the mission of helping all local businesses here in our local area achieve the sales that they need with digital marketing.
That's awesome. And I think, digital marketing right now, it's like the new, way to get attention.
Yeah.
Right. If you think of marketing before, it was like, newspapers, the phone book and the yellow pages and stuff like that. But now, people literally use their phones for everything, to get directions, to do research on restaurants,
Customer service.
I mean, it's literally our lives now.
Yeah.
And so digital marketing is the way to go. But let's take it back. Tell me a little bit about what you did before, you started this.
Yeah. The reason I started my agency is because I was working with local agencies that really, all they worried about was spots, in TV ads. They worried about spots in radio ads. They worried more about filling in gaps within their platforms. And to me, I was an account executive for KGET. And with KGET, there was a lot of viewers because KGET is the number one local news channel here in Bakersfield, in basically the Central Valley. And they started upping the rates, with their TV spots. And I have clients that were not liking this anymore. We were changing the message around, but you could only do so much. You could only do you could change the creative around and change the offers around, but afterwards you start just burning your money. You're not even generating any income. And so the reason I did my agency was because of the analytics that we have behind it and the big data that we have behind it. So yeah, that really taught me a lot as to how to be a marketing director for businesses, because it like I didn't care about who. I cared about what I'm selling, but I care more about the clients. Clients. Right. Because my name is in the line. Yeah, because my name was in the line, so that's why.
Makes sense. So you basically saw that at KGET, basically your customers, while you were an account executive there, were not getting a return on their investment. Mm-hmm. Like they were spending money for advertising, but maybe, like you just kind of saw it kind of going down, the drain in a way. And you're like, hey, there's a better opportunity. There's a better way to help these small business owners. Yeah. And the analytics, the data, right, is what gave you that kind of light bulb. Like, hey, you know what? We got to make a pivot and to help our customers. But tell me a little bit about, because to me, as you get to a CEO, like all my decisions are based off data, right? Like I look at numbers. And numbers to me tell me what decisions to make in my business.
Yes, definitely.
Like, am I getting a return on my investment? If I put $1 in, how much am I getting back? Mm-hmm. Right. So tell me a little bit about like the analytics that you were looking at, because you said you were looking at the analytics, and then you said, you know what, my customers are not getting a return on their investment anymore. Yeah. So I'm going to pivot and start this, marketing agency.
Yeah. I mean, when we started, when I started my agency, I was basically just a marketing contractor on the side for multiple businesses. And when I saw that we were spending $1 in Facebook and generating 2 new sales from that dollar, I realized this is a moment like everybody should get on this, because we know who is our clientele. First of all, you have to know who you're going to target. You have to know who's your clientele, who's your ideal clientele. Most businesses don't even know who that clientele is. They want to get everybody out there. And so I noticed this. And by us doing video ads on Facebook, we were getting views for a cent. So that was way different than promoting on the biggest channel in Central Valley. That was a big difference. And so when we were doing $1,500 to $2,000 a month in advertising, when we switched to Facebook or Google, the sales we started. The sales that we were generating from the investment were dramatically different because we were actually targeting high intent customers.
Yeah. And I think what you said is super important, because knowing your ideal customer, right? Because for me, when I started my firm, Sandoval Tax CPAs, like you said in the beginning, you just want anybody. I literally started my office. I put a sign out front that said tax preparation service, and literally, I didn't get any customers. I don't even think I got one that one day.
Yeah.
And I just wanted anybody, and that actually was a mistake because I didn't know, that, and you don't really grow in business until you know, okay, who's that ideal client that you want to serve, right? Because once you know who the ideal client is, you know what problems they're going to have. And once you know what problems they're going to have, you can target your marketing to attract those customers and be like, hey, like for me, it's like, a small business owner probably is overpaying in taxes. They probably have that pain, or maybe they don't keep track of their profitability in their business. Like they have no idea. They know they're making money, but if you ask them how much money did you make? Well, they they don't really know. Right.
Yeah.
So I know those problems. Right. And now I know what the ideal customer is. So now even from a sales perspective, it's easier to do that sale too, because one, the marketing brought them in.
Yeah.
And now two, I already know the most common problems, right?
Exactly.
So I think what you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said you got to know your ideal customers. So, and you said most customers don't even, your customers don't even know that, right?
Yes, they don't.
So how do you have those conversations with your customers?
So I asked them, what were your biggest sales last year? Where did that come from? I mean, if you're selling services, what services is the most profitable? First of all, what's the most profitable? And what service is the one that your clients, basically your revenue, what's the one that increased your revenue the most last year? And so the reason I asked that is because that's where I found out that particular service or product is the one that's generating the most sales. So now that we know that, who are we going to help with your service or products that it's needed in the marketplace? And so we find out whether it's more females, more males. Are they a married couple? Are they do they have kids? Do they have a house? If you do solar and you want to get more solar clients, then we have to target homeowners. You can't just target renters or target just broad. So those are the questions that I asked first in the beginning, like that I can know exactly who we're gonna target. After we know that, I know whether they're looking up on Google or they're on Facebook looking that up, or on TikTok now.
Right.
Yeah,
there's so many platforms, but I think it goes back to the fundamentals, right, of knowing your ideal client.
Yes.
And then like you said, describing those characteristics, right? Like, what's the normal age group of your customer? Is it mostly male or is it mostly female?
Yeah.
Right. Are they homeowners? Are they renters?
Yeah.
What's their income level?
You have to ask yourself the questions that they ask you. Because in the end of the day, they want to buy solutions. They want to buy emotions. They want to buy security. And that's us as businessmen. We're selling that. We're selling more of a secure emotion. And I also transfer all of that with video ads. That's why I love digital marketing, because you're able to tell what ads work and what ads don't work, and just place all of your budget and all of your focus on the things that do work.
Right. And I think that, again, it goes back to knowing your numbers, right? Because, one of the things that for me, I started spending like at the very first, like $10 a day on Facebook ads. And then I had a marketing coach at the time, and he said, hey, you know what? It's time to start, let's double that. Let's do $20. Yeah. And now he's like, hey, now it's time to go to $40 a day.
Yeah.
And now I'm up to like I think we're like at $500 a day on just ads. If you would have asked me to spend $500 a day 6 years ago, I would have crapped my pants. I'd be like, no way. I mean, that's, but again, I'm able to spend that money because I'm tracking the numbers.
Yeah.
Right. If I spend $500,
you also have to have you also have to have a return on investment. And
Exactly.
if it's if you're getting a good return on investment, why not double down?
Right.
Why not go from 500 to 1,000?
Exactly.
And then you're really starting to see the sales go.
Yeah, and it's all, again, you won't know what your return on investment is though unless you're tracking, right?
Yeah.
You got to be like, hey, how did you hear about us, right?
Yeah.
Was it through a Google ad, through a Facebook ad, through Yelp, through social media? I mean, then you know what's working. You can start to put more money into it. But a lot of people, unfortunately, when I ask them, just like with your accounting, how much money did they make? I'm like, hey, how many leads did you generate? I mean, they can't answer that question either.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, and where did your leads come from? Oh, well, referrals, and it's like, you got to know that data if you really want to succeed in business. Like you got to know that, to the T.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome that you're educating your clients on,
Well, I have to. I have to educate my clients because most of them, they don't understand. Most of them get caught up in a day-to-day business with traditional habits behind it. And it's a traditional type of based business. And we can see that, with successful businesses and businesses that are barely making it. Successful businesses, they're constantly innovating. And the habits that they have inside, they're constantly changing. They're trying to improve all of the time and adapting to this new world. Because now everybody knows it already. We are in a whole different new market. Everything is new. Everything, you don't even know what to expect. I mean, earlier I was talking to this business owner that in 2020, when 2020 hit, he thought that he was gonna go bankrupt. He started thinking so many negative thoughts when 2020 hit. When COVID hit.
right.
And all of a sudden, he this is his exact words. He went inside his business. He made his coffee like any other day, expecting the worst. And when he opened the doors, there was a whole line of people gathered, trying, for his services. They were making a line.
Wow.
Because people had a lot of money. And this is something that he never expected. So he said that last year or 2 years ago, in 2020, he 10x'd his income, his revenue. And again, this is something he's barely finishing off fulfilling all the clients that he generated last year, but he's still generating more clients this year. So he never expected this. And he even told me that he got overwhelmed because of it, because he wasn't prepared.
Wow.
So yeah, a lot of us, we don't know what's going on, but we do know numbers.
Right. And was that because of your marketing that he had the line of door?
No, we didn't even do anything. Like he had no marketing. He had I mean, he does have some type of brand equity here in town, but
Okay.
it was unexpected because of the time of the year and also because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
When COVID hit, everybody was just thinking negative thoughts.
Right.
We didn't think that we're gonna make money. Nobody even thinks about money when there's COVID.
Right.
So, but since all of that happened, now everything just changed.
And I think what you said was pretty interesting is like the businesses that are successful are the ones that pivot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes.
adapt to the new technology, to, like you said, TikTok now, the new platforms. You have to be able to adapt, right? Because if you stay to, you can stick to your old ways, you're going to eventually kind of, go out of business because people start to use there's new platforms where the attention is now, being held. So you have to pivot your marketing to that new platform. And you saw that opportunity, when you were at working at El Clasificado, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what, there's a better opportunity, better return on their investment. So I'm going to pivot.
Yeah, exactly.
And start to do this digital marketing.
Everything for the clients.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about kind of how do you help your clients with, I know you mentioned the ideal client, but once you identify the ideal client, like tell me a little bit more, like how do you, let's say someone's on board, like, hey, you know what, Carlos, I want to move forward with digital marketing. What are the next steps?
Okay. So once we discover their ideal client, we craft up a message with an offer that we basically come up with, so we come up, everything has to be good. The numbers have to be good. They have to be making profit. So we craft up a message from the offer as a video ad, and we deliver that message with that video, and also optimizing their whole Facebook page, their whole social media towards that ad. Once we do that, we start driving traffic to the ad and to the Facebook page, to the offer. And we're literally targeting the right people with Facebook ads. And we start generating, more views, because the clients, they're expecting, if you do ads that are not relevant to the client's eye, they're just gonna skip it. Right now, there's a lot of ads going on right now. So, and our attention span, is going from 7 seconds to probably 5 seconds now.
I would probably say even less than that. If you think about your scroll, I mean, how much time do you spend before you scroll again?
Exactly.
It's like 2 seconds.
Yeah, so you have to capture their attention right away, because Facebook is actually a pattern interruption platform. So if we're interrupting that pattern, we have to interrupt it with a contextual freaking ad. Like
right.
it has to. You have to capture the attention. If you don't, you're just gonna waste that reach, that potential client.
Yeah, and I think like you said, you only have 2 seconds to capture their attention. It's a pattern interruption. So. And you're not going to be able to have that message or that communication unless you know who you're speaking to.
Yes, exactly.
Like who's on the other side of that camera?
And this is where the businesses make the mistakes. Every I talk to a lot of businesses every single day, and some of them they do ads just by running promotions, running. I mean, Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about this, and he talks a lot about wanting to make out right away with that client. He talks about telling that person, let's go to bed right away, instead of working your way up to it. So we want to work our way up to that client first with content. Right. And that's the only way to do it right now, with content.
Yeah, content is king right now, because I mean, it's the way to establish a relationship with your customers before they even get to know you. Yeah. And again, it's since you only have 2 seconds, knowing that ideal customer and hitting that pain point right from the very beginning. Yeah. Knowing who you're speaking to is super super clear. But let me talk to you a little bit more about those traditional businesses that are maybe kind of stuck in their old ways. What is it, like, some of the objections that you see that somebody doesn't want to go to digital marketing? Like, what are some of the objections you see?
Mm-hmm. Well, most of them, they do it their own. They say, I already handle it. And that's where I know that's where they're making the mistake. They don't think that they're making the mistake because they like, again, traditional marketing, it was just about spending money every single month. And it's because it's a tax write-off. So they were spending the money, and they felt like they were creating that brand awareness. And so they think just by, boosting an ad on Facebook, that's advertising, or just by putting their logo on Facebook, on their Facebook page, that's advertising. But you could utilize your platforms to really be optimized for sales. I take direct response approaches. Are you familiar with direct response? Okay, so I take direct response approaches. To your listeners that don't know what direct response is, it's mostly a way to find out if that ad is you create a direct response right from the ad. So if the Facebook banner says 2 for 1 meals, two for one, then you know that there's gonna be a client coming from that ad. So yeah, that's I know that's one of the biggest mistakes that business owners are making.
Right. I think a lot of people make that mistake, even with, as a CPA. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to try to do my own taxes on TurboTax and try to save money. And they're literally losing money because they're overpaying in taxes when they could have just paid a little bit more, hired a CPA like myself, and then they would have saved a whole bunch of money in taxes. So the same probably with you, where it's like they're boosting their ad and it's like, what's your return on your investment?
Yeah. First of all, they don't have a plan.
Right.
First of all, they don't have a plan as to what is it that they want to offer, what is it that they want to promote, and why do they want to promote that, and what's the offer. Also, if you're making a certain amount of revenue, are you trying to grow? Are you trying to sustain that? Are you trying to reach the same clients that you've been having, or are you trying to get new clients? Are you trying to enter into new markets? Are you trying to expand? What is it that you're trying to do?
Yeah, and I think a lot of business owners, they're scared to spend money, right? They're scared to like invest in people like yourself, invest into people like myself, because they're like, oh, it's gonna cost me money. But it's like just like the same example we were giving earlier with the Facebook ads. Why not double down if you're making more money? So if it's like, hey, if I'm gonna get a better return, instead of boosting this ad, hey, Carlos gonna give me a 3-4x return or a 10x return on my investment, because of the targeted ads, or the messaging is more clear, or I know my ideal client. It's like, oh man, that investment was well worth it. But a lot of people slow their growth in a lot of ways because they're not willing to invest in people that have more experience or more expertise.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have 10x your business. You could have been where you wanted to be if you just invested in someone like yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a time where we should work as a team, and because to hire a whole in-house marketing team cost probably 10 times more than what I cost.
Right.
Excuse me. To hire an in-house team, you're probably going to need a web designer. You're probably going to need a Facebook ads manager, or paid media manager. You're going to need a creative graphic designer. You're going to need a copywriter. Copywriter's king right now as well. You're probably going to need a data person, who's reading all of the numbers. And when people hire me, I have a team. I have a team that handles everybody, and everybody works together as a team. And I put all of my strengths into what I know best, and which is strategy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, it's nice to have a marketing team, but how much money is it going to spend to have an internal?
I mean,
marketing?
If you're able to afford it, it's way better. But if you're just starting out and you just simply don't know how the market works, or how digital marketing works, it's better to invest somebody like me as a marketing contractor or marketing director, because you're going to save a lot of money, but at the same time, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of people, you mentioned so many key words like graphic design and copywriter, right? And a lot of people that probably went over their heads, web designer. And it's like, there's so many opportunity in marketing, right? Ways to basically put yourself out there, so that way people know who you are and get attention, right?
Yeah.
That they don't realize, how much work it takes just to get a customer inside the door.
Yeah.
And so if you can have someone on your team that can kind of give you clarity and, make the most out of your dollar, why not put that to work? So I think, I believe in hiring people that are smarter than you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you're not going to grow if you try to do it yourself, because you're just going to slow the process. Like, how many hours of education are you going to have to spend to figure it out yourself?
Oh, yeah.
And what about not just that, the opportunity cost? What about the amount of time you could have spent generating revenue when you're trying to figure out this whole marketing thing, when you could have already gotten 3, 4, 5 new clients?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of people, have to kind of realize how much time they're losing and the value of their time, because it's like you could have spent that time making sales when you're just trying to save money.
Exactly.
And if you would have just hired somebody, you would have sped up your growth 10x.
Yeah. I believe everybody, makes that mistake, because I made that mistake, in the beginning. I mean, I knew how to set up a Facebook ads launch. I knew how to do it in a basic way until I hired an expert, and he just he blew my mind away, and I was like, I could have hired you a long time ago. I could have hired a long time ago, and I would have spent all of that time learning as to how to do Facebook ads and this and that. Because honestly, marketing has its principles. Marketing is who's the audience, which is who's the clientele, the message, and the conversion. Those three things, those are the main principles that your marketing strategy should have. But we utilize platforms now. Now the radio is Spotify. Now everything is on our phones now.
Right.
So those three principles are never gonna go away. But now we have new platforms that you should have those three principles in place for all of those platforms.
Yeah, and I would say, like the last one, the conversions. I mean, that's so powerful, because if you know your numbers and you're getting, if you spend $1 and you're getting two, why wouldn't you spend $100 to get 200? Or why wouldn't you spend $1,000 to get 2,000?
Yeah.
It becomes an unlimited potential amount of opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you have to know your numbers.
Yeah.
If you don't know your numbers, you're gonna throw your money down the drain.
Yeah. Yeah. And most people don't even know about conversions neither. They like I said, they just boost ads, and they're getting 100,000 impressions, and there's no conversions, right? Or they're not tracking the conversions.
Yeah, exactly. So again, you know your numbers. I mean, there's so much power, especially when you get to the level, that I am, or even people that are higher than me. It's like they're just running their business based off data.
Yeah.
Based off the numbers. They literally just have meetings with their managers, and they just look at reports. They don't know who some of their team members are. They're just making decisions all based off data.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that data becomes so important as you start to grow your business. And so I can't emphasize enough, know your numbers, and don't be afraid to invest in people that are smarter than you, because they're just going to speed up your growth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's the best return on investment.
100%. Now, question for you, Carlos, because, one of the things that has affected my business, and we've been able to pivot a little bit, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. Facebook had this privacy update. I think it's an iOS update where people can say they want to no longer be tracked.
Yeah.
So before that, it was really easy to target customers, right, on Facebook ads. But now it's not as easy, because some people have said, "Hey, I don't want." It
just costs a lot more.
Yeah. So what has your big? Obviously, you just said it costs a little bit more, which was what we've experienced.
Yeah.
But how can someone, even regardless of costing more, what is your advice to someone that maybe got impacted?
Double down on organic strategies. Double down on organic. Organic has been really, really, really working good, especially for local businesses, because people want to see you. They want to see you. They want to know you. They want to know what you're about. Organic has really been a very powerful way, and that's basically what you do. With your videos. And when your clients start to come in, and they start to see your content, they already feel like they know you. They already feel like they know what they're there for. So yeah, organic is big right now.
I think that's gold, because for me, I always focus on advertise ads, and you can make a lot of money off ads, but like you said, it's gotten more expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to pivot, and then your pivot is organic, right?
Yeah.
And content marketing, what is the value that you can provide to clients, and build a relationship with your customers before they even, come to your office or your shop, or, wherever it is that you're doing business. So that way they even have more trust, right? Because they've already watched some of your content and like, oh man, this guy knows what he's talking about.
It's just like ads, you know. But now the ads, you could reach a lot of people. But right now with the updates, it has gotten more expensive to reach. But there's ways where your own clients and your own followers could promote you. You know, especially if you start to reward your clients and you start to reward your followers because they're actually promoting you, and they want to promote you when you do good for them. So always do good. You know, I always tell my daughters, good people get good stuff. So good things get you the good. Everything is good. It's just the law of attraction.
Right.
You do good, good's gonna come back to you.
Yeah, good things happen to good people.
Yes.
And so, and speaking of like your followers, you actually gain more attraction because your followers start to share your posts.
Yeah.
And it's like this big tree. It's like, people are starting to share your posts, and it's like, man, I'm now advertising without having to spend any ad money.
Yeah.
It's just like, the power of compounding.
Yes.
Right. It's like when you put money in the bank and it just starts to increase and increase because of the compound effect.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with organic. There's a huge compound effect to content marketing. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. But you have to keep at it.
Right.
If you do one piece of video and you think that video is gonna be the main video, it's never gonna be the main video.
Right.
You have to keep on it, add it every day, even twice a day, 3 times a day. If your competitors are doing it 2 times a day, do it 4 times.
Yep. Yeah. Consistency is super important because, whenever you make decisions like brushing your teeth, you do it without even thinking about it, right? It's like, for me, I wake up, I have my daily routine.
Yeah.
So you have to make content part of your daily routine, where it's like, hey, I wake up every morning, I'm going to shoot 2 or 3 pieces of content. And now it's like, now for me, it's like, it's just part of what I do.
Yeah.
But it didn't start off that way.
Yeah.
At first, I wasn't, comfortable in front of the camera. Yeah. At first I was like, oh my goodness, like, what do I even talk? What am I going to say? Right. So it's, but you don't really know until you start doing it. It's just practice, right? Practice. Just like anything. I mean, you're going to get good at whatever you do, but you have to make it part of your daily rituals.
Yeah. And then after that, you see the numbers, and the numbers tell you whether you're doing good or not.
Exactly.
And then they tell you who to cater to. Right. Your numbers start to tell you, okay, well, I need to be making more videos to a certain age group that needs this type of problem to be solved. And then you start to cater those videos towards that person.
Yep.
And you start to make those videos based on that.
Yep.
So that's why I just keep at it, make it a habit. And then after that, you could hire somebody or do it yourself to read the analytics to you and then strategize from there.
Yeah. Again, viewing the data, because then you can see, okay, man, this got more views compared to this one. It's like, all right, people like this, right? And let me do more of this.
Yeah.
Again, it's just knowing your numbers. I mean, as a CPA and accountant, I'm a passion, I'm a numbers guy. Yeah. So it's like when you talk about data and numbers, it's like, man, that's me.
Yes.
That's game.
Exactly. It's the same thing as your job is to increase, your revenue because of it, or not your revenue, but you increase your profit
right
from it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like everything else. So I think numbers, I mean, if you don't know your numbers, that's the first thing you got to do is like look at your data or hire someone like yourself, or a CPA like myself. That way you can focus on what you're good at, right? Because everyone has their weaknesses and their strengths. And I truly believe that you should focus on your strengths, and whatever you're not good at, you hire someone else to do it.
Yes.
And have that person who's better than you do whatever you're not good at. And then it's like everyone is doing their strength.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you hire the right people, whether it's outsourcing to a marketing person like you or hiring someone internally, it doesn't really matter as long as you hire the right person and you trust who you hire.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then it's like everyone is just helping you grow because they know what they're doing, then they're doing it with passion because they like it.
Because they love it. Yeah.
Instead of like, oh man, I'm trying to save money because I want to do it myself, but maybe you don't even like it.
Yeah.
It's like, do what you love. That way you can focus on growing the revenue, and whatever you don't love and it's still important, delegate that.
Yeah, exactly.
So Carlos, tell me a little bit about like, who are, speaking of ideal clients, who are your ideal clients? Like if someone is interested in your service, like who is that, someone that you target?
Any local businesses that's making 6 to 7 figures. If they want to scale, I'm here to help them. Yeah, so local businesses that are making 6 to 7 figures.
That wants to focus on digital marketing.
Yes. Actually, they should focus on digital marketing. If you're already at 6 figures, then you're probably doing something already. But regarding digital marketing, because like mostly everybody has a Facebook page,
right?
So you're probably generating some money from it. But if you truly want to scale, let's start to strategize.
Yeah, right. 100%. I think, and that's what people, like you said, fail to do. They just boost the ads, and they're just spending their money without looking at the numbers.
Yeah,
they're just like, oh, I got some extra money to spend. I have maybe $1,000 in my marketing budget, and I'm gonna boost my ad. But instead of, you could have strategized, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's the same thing I tell my clients, even with taxes. Like a lot of people will just, not really strategize on how they can save money on taxes. Mm-hmm. They just kind of like hope, in March or April when it's time to file their taxes. Oh, let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
And it's like, why didn't we meet in March, in June, September, throughout the year to strategize? Hey, what if you would have bought a vehicle to reduce your taxes?
Yeah.
What if you would have invested in a retirement account, right? And this is not a tax talk, but what my whole point is, in order to get what you want, you need to strategize.
Yeah,
in order to better optimize the result.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I was to go back in time to my high school days, I would have done everything different. you know, like knowing what I know now. And if I would have strategized, made a plan, and then strategized for the plan for what I wanted after high school, I would have probably got it.
Right.
Because now I know that planning, strategizing, and knowing your outcome is how you're going to get it. But that's why it's better to do that now. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a strategy, start doing it now so that you could move forward, because the past is the past.
Right.
So we learn from the past and we learn from the now. So now, you could really, really get what you want within the next year, 2 years if you strategize.
Yeah. And I think also, sometimes you may not know how to strategize, right? Because you don't know what things to do. Like they probably never heard about, Facebook ads, or maybe they heard about it, but they don't know how to do it. So it's like, don't be afraid to spend the money as long as you get a return on your investment.
Yeah. And if you don't have money, if you're just starting out, we have a friend called Google. And Google, you could Google anything. How to launch a Facebook ad, how to design a website, how to do copywriting. What is the best copywriting software? What software should I use? We have a supercomputer at the palm of our hands,
right,
and in our pockets,
right.
So if you really want it, you'll get it. You'll do it.
There's actually a mentor of mine who said, when you have more time than you have money, then spend the time to acquire the strategy.
Yes.
But if you have more money than you have time, like in my case right now, then I don't have as much time. I'd rather spend the money to hire someone that knows how to do it.
To free up your time.
To free up my time.
Yeah.
So it's all, again, that's a strategy of, okay, do I have the time? If so, let's use Google, like you're saying. But if I don't have the time, well, then I'm going to spend the money to speed up my process.
Yeah, exactly. But you still have to know, what's your outcomes, from it, because you could spend your money on a few people that really don't know what they're doing, but they know how to sell. So if you don't really know it, then sometimes you could get burnt by doing that.
Yeah, I think it's you got to do your due diligence on who you're hiring, right? That way because you can invest in someone and actually things go wrong.
Yeah.
But I think if you do your homework and you do your research, you look at reviews, you talk to people that maybe are using those, their services, the less likely you are to get burned.
Yeah.
Because you've done your homework, you've done your due diligence.
Yeah.
But if you're just investing with because of the sales presentation was really good, but you didn't actually do your research, well, then it's possible that you could get burned.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a few clients that have gotten burnt by agencies. And I know what they're talking about because when I was when I used to work for agencies for because here in local in here in Bakersfield, KGT was an agency, a marketing agency. El Clasificado was a marketing agency. I was also working with another digital agency called Launch Titans, but that's a whole different story. It wasn't local, but what we were selling was Google ads. We were selling SEO. We were selling Facebook ads, but there was no strategy. It was just like they wanted to make it so cheap because they wanted to beat other competitors. Hey, your Facebook ad's gonna cost you $200 this month, $300 this month. Okay, how much am I getting in reach? You're getting $30,000 to $40,000. I mean, 40,000 people in reach. Oh, okay. So that's good. That's not good. But there was no strategy,
Right.
And so I learned that there's no trust until I start to talk about strategy, because agencies, they don't talk about strategies.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, like you said, will make that decision based off sometimes price, like, oh, this is a cheaper option.
Exactly. Yeah.
When really, if you spend a little bit more, you get a better return on your investment. Yeah. And it's like you have to just know, that you're getting your money's worth, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you might spend a little bit more money, but your dollar's gonna go a lot more further, a longer way. Yeah. So I think that's really important. But Carlos, tell me a little bit about, what are you excited about going forward? I know you've been in business for 2 years now. Like, tell me a little bit about what your plans are.
So moving forward is just we're creating this software. I have plans of creating this software where people could my regular clients, they could just come in and order anything. So first of all, they could see their campaigns running. What's their numbers? What's on Facebook ads? What's my numbers on my social media management? What's my numbers on my YouTube channel? What's my numbers on my website? Because all of these, like I said, data. I wanna have that nice dashboard for clients where they could just log in, they see their ads, and also if they want to improve it, they could just click a button and let us know how they would like to improve it or book a call with us. But at the same time, right? So right now, we know what works for clients, and we know how to get certain types of clients at a certain types of budget. So I'm excited about creating the software because it's gonna be for all types of budgets.
That's awesome, because I think transparency is super important.
Yeah,
it's like if clients know, like, hey, what's going on, and they see the work that you're doing, it's like it just helps the customer feel like, hey, I'm getting my money's worth. You just, that transparency is so important.
Yeah, and
then you can see the data, and it just helps everybody grow.
Yeah, exactly. I love it when my clients say, man, I feel so trustworthy with you. Like that's, I feel like the top businesses like Amazon, they do everything for the client. They even lose money in the beginning for the client. Like when Jeff Bezos rolled out the Amazon Prime, he was losing some money, but now it's just compensating for other things. So when you start to do stuff for your clients actually start to give back to you.
100%.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Carlos, if someone wants to get a hold of you, if they're interested in digital marketing, or they just want to, book a call with you or your team, what's the best way to do that?
Okay. So they could give me a call at 661-699-8059, or they could jump on my website at transparentmg.com and book a call with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for a free consultation as well. So I could audit their campaigns as well.
That's awesome. And then if they want to follow you on social media, if you want to give your Instagram handles as well.
Yeah, if they want to follow me on social media, I'm on. I just recently.
Carlos Tafolla is marketing.
Yes. I just recently changed my name to Carlos Tafolla is marketing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Carlos. I think a lot of my listeners got a lot of value from this. And I think that, if someone wants to, hit up Carlos, make sure they hit you up either on Instagram or the phone number you provided. But again, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. And you're doing awesome, man. Keep at it.
Thank you.
If you need help, let me know.